Welcome. My name's Karamir and today I'm going to talk to you about stress and how to check what is in our stress container and the reasons why this is so important. Recently, there's been a big push for people to be able to talk about their mental health freely and without judgment. But why do we care about how people are feeling? And so I want to begin by sharing some of the stark statistics of mental ill health, and then we will clearly see why I personally feel passionate about stopping all stigma and discrimination against people with poor mental health. Approximately 16 million people in the UK will experience a mental illness. 75% of young people with mental health problem are not receiving any treatment whatsoever. 6,507 people died by suicide in the UK in 2019. Due to recent changes in the way a coroner can now conclude a death was by suicide, it is predicted the recorded deaths by suicide will increase in 2020. Suicide is the biggest killer of young people in the UK. Stress can cause mental health problems, or it can even make existing mental health worse. These are shockingly high figures, and we need to be better prepared to understand ourselves and be more proactive in helping our mental health or seeking help when we need it. Being under stress is a normal part of life. It can help you feel more energized and it can also help you get results. But if you become overwhelmed by this stress, these feelings could start to be a problem for you. One way we can help ourselves is to notice when our stress levels are increasing and to do something about it before this has an impact on our mental health. While stress is not categorized as a mental illness, research has shown that being exposed to stress for a considerable length of time can have serious detrimental effects on our mental health and can induce mental illness such as anxiety and depression. Stress is what your body feels when it thinks it's in danger. It's really hard for your body to distinguish if the danger is real or not, and sometimes emotional threats such as arguments, money problems, or too much work can be interpreted by the brain as physical, real-life dangerous situations. The area of your brain responsible for looking out for danger is known as the amygdala. Once your amygdala thinks you're in danger, it will activate what is known as our emergency stress system, and it will send out signals to the rest of your body to get it prepared to face this danger. This is known as the fight or the flight response and is your body's way of helping you get out of danger, but of course, not when our brain has misinterpreted a situation. This blue-shaped container is a representation of our own individual stress. In other words, the amount of stress we can hold at any given time. In this representation, every bit of stress that we encounter will enter the container as a fluid. Everybody has the ability to cope with a certain amount of stress. The amount of stress that we can cope with will depend on a variety of factors, such as our upbringing, our past experiences, our current life circumstances, and there are more. One of the worries about stress is how slowly and gradually it can creep up on us, filling our container, so much so that we can actually get used to it, to the point that it can feel normal. But this is dangerous. Too much stress can have a detrimental impact on both our body and our mental health, and long-term exposure to stress can lead to mental illness. If we do experience more stress than we can cope with, then our behaviours as a person and our body will start to change. And it is these changes that are really important to take notice of. These are our warning signs which we need to pay attention to. Some classic warning signs that we may exhibit when experiencing too much stress are things like an inability to concentrate or getting a poor memory, focusing all the negative things in life, becoming anxious and constantly worrying. We may eat more than normal or even eat less. We can become sleepy, withdrawn from other people, which can also make us feel lonely and isolated and become generally unhappy and agitated. We can become irritable or even angry. Stress can also be felt in the body, such as experiencing unexplained aches and pains, feeling dizzy, having palpitations. We can feel sick, we can get diarrhea or constipation, and also it can induce a disinterest in sex. Of course, many things can contribute to stress, These can be things such as work, family life, children, significant life events, financial difficulties, and lots more. If we ignore the warning signs and continue to allow our bodies to be subjected to distress, then we can go on to experience what is known as emotional snapping. This is also sometimes referred to as a meltdown. In our diagram, this looks like our stress container is unable to cope with anymore and it begins to overflow. For some people, emotional snapping may look like crying uncontrollably, and for other people, they may become very angry and aggressive and begin to lash out at others. Some people may go into themselves, and others may begin to panic uncontrollably. Unfortunately for us too, our emergency stress signals have been activated, and therefore it becomes easier and easier to activate them again and again. It doesn't feel nice in the body to experience too much stress, and therefore we naturally look for ways in which we can escape from these uncomfortable feelings. It may feel like having a glass of wine in the evening helps us to relax, or smoking a cigarette provides us with that calmness that we are craving. Or some people may turn to drugs, again, because they are looking for a way of coping. Of course, whilst these strategies may feel like they're helping at the time, there are a number of reasons why these are very unhelpful coping strategies, and in the long run, they will not be able to continue to help relieve stress, but perhaps bring about other illnesses to our body, not to mention we may also become addicted. We can see this in our diagram as an outlet for the stress, but unfortunately the outlet is blocked, showing us that it isn't really a helpful strategy at all. We need instead to find helpful, longer-term solutions to reducing the amount of emergency stress signals we experience, and we can do this by finding some helpful coping strategies. This is done by allowing our brain to have a break from whatever it is that's causing us to experience stress. One of the best ways to release stress is by exercising. Exercising regularly has proved to improve mood as well as being beneficial to our body. Practicing relaxation techniques such as mindfulness meditation can also help us focus our mind on the here and now and help us take away from the stressful situation we find ourselves in, even if only for a moment. Regular practice of mindfulness has shown that it can create new neural pathways in the brain, which can then help with concentration and thinking positively. It also puts us in a very restful place, which is completely the opposite to a stressful state, and this can have a positive effect on your stress levels and your mental health. You can find many mindful meditation videos on my channel which are there for you to use. It's really important to practice helpful coping strategies in everyday life and not just when you feel stressed. Finding helpful coping strategies are all about finding a way to learn and how to relax. And don't forget, if you feel mentally unwell, please make sure you contact your GP. Other places that can offer you support are Mind, the Samaritans and Shout. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have enjoyed it, why don't you subscribe to my channel? That way you'll be notified when new videos are released. I'm Karamia, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves and those around you.